Okay, here we go. I was trying to get this shared on my page, but it's not showing up. So that's okay. I want to thank you guys for joining me on my epic voyage. I am super excited, but also incredibly nervous. Um, Mostly because my kids are watching. So thank you guys for commenting because just want to make sure it's working and that people are tuning in. Um, this is super important to me. Hopefully, you guys can share the show because I cannot, it's not showing up. So, if you could just share the show, tag me, whatever. Um, Hello, Andrea, Penny, Jesse, Ashley, Tony, Laura Stockhouse is here. Um, so, I figured out a way to make myself teeny tiny on the screen because I was super nervous about that, not having the guys on the show. Um, there's just some notes for you guys. I am not a medical expert at all. I am just a girl who has learned different ways to deal with stress and anxiety and depression and all sorts of things. Um, I do want to start out by saying that you guys are free to say whatever you want on the show. And if there are people who are being negative or belittling or judgmental, then they will be kicked out of the chat. So don't worry about that. Also, at any time, probably not during a live broadcast, but you guys are more than welcome to message the page if you have something you want to talk about, something that is bothering you, a pet peeve you have about humanity in general, just whatever. Message the page at any time. I will try to get your topic up there and let people talk about it. And if you want, I will make sure that you remain anonymous because I don't want to call anybody out like that if you're not ready to talk about something. This is very nerve wracking. I can understand why people wouldn't want to just put all their shit out there, but that's what I'm going to do because I hate feeling alone. I have spent a lot of my life being stressed and depressed, and I think that one of the biggest parts of it is that you feel like you're the only one having these feelings, especially with social media, especially this time of year. People are posting their beautiful Christmas decorations, and you get all the cards in the mail with people in their picture perfect families, and they list all of the million accomplishments that they've done throughout the year, and you're just like, cool, I made it through another year. And you know what? That's commendable. There's a lot to be said for that, especially um, this, this time. Things are crazy for everybody. So if all you did today was get out of bed and manage to take a shower, then that's great. Because, if I go through a funk, as I call it, there's times where it's hard to even take a shower. I did not get my Christmas wrapping done that I posted about. I don't know where you guys stand on your Christmas shopping and wrapping and everything, but put in the comments, like, what percentage do you think you're done with your Christmas shopping? Like, are you 100% done? Were you one of those people that was done in October, or are you still at zero? Whatever. Oliver, while you're here, I would like to thank you for your support in this. It's kind of a big deal to be the first show on the RU Media Network that is not about ghosts. That was that's a big step. And I know that you want to branch out and do other things, but I'm so honored to be the very first. Donna, 100%. She's done. You guys making me look bad already. I think I'm actually pretty close to being done because I just don't know what else to get. but I'm not even close to done wrapping, but that's okay. Yeah. It's good job, Penny. I found though, if I used to buy stuff early, a lot of times if I got the, stuff on sale or whatever, I would buy stuff early and then I would like hide it, so my husband can't see it, whatever. And then I would have so much stuff that I would just forget about. So I can't do it too early. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the comments. It's nice to have Goose help me out with that. Addie, that's awesome. Homemade gifts are amazing. And I hate when people like downplay it. Like when they go to give me something and they're like, sorry, I couldn't afford to get anything, so I made you this. Like, that's amazing. Dude, make presents. They're so, so much better. It's so when you put thought into something, like I was talking to my cousin about this today. Even just somebody thinking about you enough to make something for you is amazing. Yeah, I hear you, Goose. You've been going through a lot too, so that's understandable. You still got time. Oh yeah. Yeah, there is a big winter storm coming. Um, I heard Tim talking about it, so it must be out that way as well. But in Ohio, it's going to be pretty bad this weekend. See, Jesse, that's what happens. I still have presents that I bought for the kids years ago that I have never found. Yes, you should apologize. Oh, since you're late, Tim, I should show you guys because I want to make sure that I give credit. Mike Hatcher made me a super awesome intro that I will show you guys here in a second. I love it. I have been such a pain in the ass this week, just going over, he makes a logo and I'm like, oh, well, can you change this and change this and change this? Okay, but can you change it back to this? He's been super patient and I appreciate it so much. You cannot go wrong with chocolate, Andrea, ever. I made reindeer cookies one year that looked terrible, but everybody loved them. Oh, Jesse, look at you making wreaths and blankets. All right, real quick, let me show you guys this intro. Ready? I love it. Oh my gosh. Absolutely, Kathy. I think that's another thing that people really stress about things like it's not, there's no plan. You could plan all you want, but it's never going to be that way. I hate the word supposed to be, like, oh, I'm 30, I'm supposed to be married, or oh, my kids are supposed to be this, or whatever, my son's supposed to be playing sports. Like I hate the whole planning and everything's supposed to be something. It's not. It's just going to be, it's just going to be what it is. I know, right? But that's one of the things that I really try to stress to people, especially new parents. Oh my gosh, everybody has this idea in their head of what their kids are going to be like and what their life's going to be like, and that never ever happens. Even if it's like my oldest, when he was 3 years old, he would wake up in the morning, he would get his own Pop-Tarts, he'd get his own juice, he'd just let me sleep, he'd start a movie for himself, he'd wake up in the morning, I'd wake up 10, 11 o'clock, and he'd just be like, good morning, mommy. So you think, oh, okay, cool. Clearly I'm parenting right. And that's what it is. No. And then you have another one and it's nothing like that. They don't sleep through the night, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. And the best plan is just to not have a plan because then you can't be disappointed, right? um, things, if you don't have a way that it's supposed to be, then it's never going to disappoint you. See, that's hard because you look around and see other people and their kid does this and their kid does that and your kid doesn't, but it's not because you're a bad parent. You are freaking amazing. Um, there's okay, somebody told me once that if you're not worried about how you are as a mother, then that means you're a bad mother. The best mothers question themselves every single day. They because they care. And if you didn't care, then you wouldn't even be worried about whether or not you're a good parent because who cares, right? Um, it's always the good ones who feel like the failure the most. So don't forget that. I mean, I know it has nothing to do with you and you are not a failure as a parent, but it just remember that the best ones worry the most. Goose, you're wonderful. Oh, hello, Mama Bear. Thank you for joining us and commenting. Um, so I wanted to tell you guys about our 5-minute rule. I don't know if Jesse's still here, but I started this with Jesse years and years ago. Um, we were both going through a lot of shit at the time, breakups and financial problems and just whatever. Things were hard, jobs were tough, whatever. And what we did was we literally set a timer. Um, and she would call or I would call and we would say, I need 5 minutes. And whoever was listening would literally set a timer. You have 5 minutes, ready, set, go. um, and you take that 5 minutes and you scream and you yell and you swear and you cry and whatever. And when that 5 minutes was up, then you put your big girl pants on and you work on a solution. We would use this so often. Um, obviously, her dad died and she called and said, I need 10 minutes. And I said, listen, okay, that's different. You can have more than 10 minutes for something like that. But if you have a bad day at work or, something's going on at home or, you can't pay your bills or whatever, set a timer, give yourself 5 minutes. You could do it by yourself, but if you have a trusted person, whether it's your best friend, your significant other, whatever, just tell them I need 5 minutes. They don't even have to talk. They don't have to do anything. Just let me have my 5 minutes and do whatever you need to do. Seriously, sometimes we would just cry. Sometimes things are rough and all you can do is cry. And once the timer was up, you put your big girl pants on and you work on a solution. Um, it drives my kids crazy, but I always tell them tears and tantrums don't build time machines, right? Um, it doesn't matter how long you cry about something or how angry you get or how much you punch the wall or whatever. Those things are not going to change what happened. So all you can do is just move forward, right? There's no sense wasting time on being upset. Yes, obviously your dad dies. You're going to be upset for a little bit. That's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you have a bad day at work or something like that, especially when it comes to people who treat you badly. I spent a lot of my life worrying about what other people think of me. I still do. My husband will tell you I worry about it all the time, but actually I'm like 95% better. Um, that's a good idea as well, Miles. um, if you have someone who is constantly bringing you down, someone who bullies you, even adults bully, it's still a thing. Um, especially people You cannot, you give them 5 minutes, that's it. You could get pissed off about it, you can vent about it, whatever. But after that, do not give them another second of your time. Because when you sit there and you dwell on the things that they said and you stress about it and you worry about it and you take it to heart and whatever, they win. Plain and simple, they win. They are now controlling you. I try to tell my kids that all the time too, because they will let things that happened at school bother them, or so and so said this. Okay, well, I guarantee you that so and so went home and they are not thinking about you. They are not thinking about what they said to you. It is so far off of their mind. And now they are controlling your emotions, they are controlling your happiness. And you never, ever, ever give somebody else the keys to your happiness. That's yours. You create that on your own. They don't get to take it away from you. So, those are two super, super important things that I try to focus on all the time. And I drive my kids crazy with it. Um, the That's it. 5 minutes. I know it sounds so stupid, but once that timer goes off, then you're like, okay, just breathe. I got this. You're not going to do anything by continuing to dwell on it, right? Like the only thing you can do is just move forward and try to find solutions. And there are solutions out there, but if you're sitting there stressing about the past, then you're not going to be able to see what you need to do. Exactly. Wise woman. And I found too that especially when I talk to my kids, because my boys are like super competitive, like they fight about everything. And so I found that when I tell them that the other person wins, then they're like, oh no, I can't let him win. I gotta calm down. I can't let it bother me. We're a very competitive household. So that was that was where that came from. Yes. Yes, that's very true. Um, I I try to teach my kids to think about why people do things. I think that when you take into account what people have been through, I mean, I'm not saying, ugh, this is a rough one for me. When you take into account how people are hurting, and what they're going through, sometimes it's easier to see that what they're doing to you is not a reflection of you. It's something that they are going through personally. But at the same time, I don't think that it's okay to project your traumas or your hurting onto other people. So that's just kind of a rough one. Um, and plus, I think that I tend to let people get away with a lot, um, because I am empathetic and I see what they're going through, and I try to um, not get as angry. But I mean, it gets to a point like we're adults, right? Like, um, if you had a bad day at work, you can't just come home and treat your family like shit, right? That's not how that works. Like, we're adults. We should learn to capture those emotions and just let them go and not take them out on other people. When I worked at the convenience store, I actually had a guy who would literally yell at me for being so happy. And he'd be like, you don't have to smile all the time. And one day I just looked at him and I said, you know what, Jimmy? I said, my house is in foreclosure right now. I said, I don't have the money to pay for it. And he was like, what? And he's like, why didn't you say something? I said, why would I say something? That's not your fault. I'm not going to sit here and treat you like garbage or act like, something is your fault. I'm not going to come here and treat the customers like shit because I'm having a bad day. It's not their fault. Why would I come in here and do anything other than smile? It takes the exact same amount of energy to smile as it does to be a dick. And That's what you're choosing to do, and this is what I choose to do. He literally yelled at me for smiling because you don't need to be so happy all the time. Well, you don't need to be so crabby all the time. Exactly. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough like line to walk because I really like I have a big heart. I want to help people, but at the same time if it comes at my expense, then I don't want to help them anymore. I will pray for them and I will wish them well and I hope that they figure their shit out, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to sit there and take abuse for it. It is. Yeah. It's so important too, Scott, and I think that it's something that people don't ever learn how to do. I mean, there's people who will be on their deathbed and not understand their own emotions. And it's it's hard because you're right. People will like instead of figuring out what triggered their emotions, what they're so upset about, whatever, they will just lash out at people who had nothing to do with it. But once you figure out, there's the people closest to me in my life, I can just text them and be like, I'm in a funk right now. And they know that that means that I'm going through a mini bout of depression. I'll get my shit together in a couple of days. But for now, don't be mad if I don't answer your text message. But, I've communicated enough with them that they know that that's what's going on. Yes. It is very common, and especially people like us, John, people who want to see the best in people and people who want to give people a chance. There's so many people in my life who have had way too many chances. But I feel bad. Yes, God. There is what is that? The squeaky wheel gets the grease or whatever. Like people do. Um, People seem to think too that being the loudest means you're right. Like if I scream at you in an argument, that makes me right. Um, that's not the case at all. I feel like if you are just constantly screaming, you just don't have control of your emotions. Yeah. I wish we could, Kathy. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Nice. So does that mean you can take some time off since you hit your quota? Um, I think it's important to realize that you're battling your brain, right? Um, that's a huge part of it, and I think that was a huge part of what helped me learn ways to cope was literally just, okay, what's the first step of a 12-step program? Admitting you have a problem, right? I think that I get to a point I know when I'm in a funk because I'll be like, "Oh my god, I hate this house." I love my house. I love my life. I have an amazing husband. My kids are fantastic. So if I ever get to a point where I'm like angry being at home, like I know because of past experiences that that's me battling my brain. That's me not thinking clearly. And you have to recognize that that is not how you actually feel. And here's what I do to battle that. I don't know if you guys noticed, but my Facebook page, I don't put like political crap. I share my friends' business pages because I am always trying to support small business. I share motivational stuff and I share pictures and stuff of my kids because it might be nice for you guys, but at the same time, that's super selfish. I'm not going to lie. When I do get in a funk and I start to feel like I'm angry with my life or whatever, I will go on social media, but I will go to my page, my actual page, and I will just scroll through it and I will look at all of these reminders and I will look at these motivational quotes that are like, you can do this, you're strong, whatever. Um, I mean, I hope that they help you as well. But I do that so that when I'm in a funk, I can just go and look at my own page and just remember that things are great and I am a strong person and I can do this. And, that my kids are fantastic. They might be driving me crazy at the time, but I do that to remember, like, pay attention to your news feed, pay attention to what you're sharing on Facebook, and don't share anything that wouldn't motivate you when you're in a funk. Yeah, exactly. Um, I know I say this a lot about the seminary, but I think that it should apply at home as well. When you pull into the driveway, whether you're having a hard time at home and you're pulling into work, or you're having a hard time at work and you're pulling into your driveway at home, imagine that there's like an imaginary brick wall at the end of your driveway. And when you pull into the driveway, all that shit, all that baggage stays out there on the street. You can pick that shit up tomorrow. You can deal with it when you're at work tomorrow. But when you are at home, you are at home. And when you're at work, you're at work. You can't let negative things from either one of those spill over into the other one. And I'm very big on like imagining things, like imagining like a strainer or something, like a screen, so that when you pull into your driveway, that's it. All that shit is gone. It's not allowed to come in with you. Yes. 1,000% yes. Um, people people tend to listen to react as well. People don't ever really listen to listen. I read a thing on Facebook about a couple that whenever they're talking, they will ask each other. They'll straight up ask each other at the beginning of the conversation, okay, am I problem solving or am I just listening? And they will say, okay, you're problem solving. And then they will take, whatever the person says, and they'll be like, okay, well, what if you did this, whatever. But sometimes they just want to vent, and so they want the person to just listen. And so if they say just listening, then if you say, oh, Karen's being such a bitch at work and blah blah blah, then the person knows that they just have to be like, are you serious? Oh my god, like that's it. Don't problem solve anything for me. I don't want you to tell me that I should talk to Karen nicely. I don't want, no, just listen and just support me. That's it. Yeah. And it's a very good reaction too. Um, oh, there you go. That's crazy, John. I'm glad you at least have the rest of this week off. Holy cow. I mean, are they just asking you to work or you have to? Yeah. That's what I try to remember, Kathy, but it's hard. Sorry. Um, it's hard though because like I understand people's reactions, but at the same time, like I've been through a lot of shit. I don't go treating other people poorly because of the things I've been through. Those people didn't do those things to me. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't get over this cold. It's not COVID. I took a test. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Um, I actually was diagnosed with ADD when I was an adult. Um, and the doctor told me these are some of the highest numbers I've ever seen. I said, "Do I get a trophy for that?" She said, "It's not a good thing." Um, but you do if you love someone with autism, ADHD, ADD, anxiety, those kind of things, there's definitely a different way that you have to communicate and a different way that people process what you say. So it is really important to just be 100% honest because there's things that like my husband has learned over the years that like when he says them, it means nothing like what my brain perceives it as. So it's super important to just always be honest. Like, hey, when you say that to me, it sounds like this, you know? Kathy, you are wonderful. There you go. Just check emails. That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. Like if it was somebody else who was in your situation, they probably would be treating them the exact same way. So it's not a you thing, it's them thing. Oh, thanks, Addie. I know, I feel bad. I had to tell the kids to go stay in the rooms and be quiet. Because I was like, I have to have the Christmas tree in the background. It's almost Christmas. John, don't apologize for venting. That's what this show is for. Honestly, sometimes it's just good to say things out loud. And even if the person who you're talking to doesn't even like say anything monumentally important, sometimes just having somebody go, "Man, that sucks." That's good enough for me. I I just wanted somebody to acknowledge that it sucks. Thank you, Scott. See, Scott gets it. Yeah. I've I've been doing that a lot lately. Um, I used to take it very personally when I didn't like match somebody's energy level. You know, sometimes there's people you just don't mesh with. You know, like they don't do anything wrong to you, they're not mean to you, but just something doesn't I just don't want to be around that person. Um, I used to take it very personally and it would make me like almost try harder. Like, why doesn't that person like me? Like, what do I need to do? Now I'm like, I just don't give a shit anymore. Like, if there are billions of people on this planet, right? Billions. If somebody, if I don't mesh well with somebody or we don't, you know, somebody's like super negative all the time, like I'm not going to sit there and try to change that person to be more positive. They're not going to change, especially they're not going to change because of me. Like they've met tons of people who have never been able to change them. Why would I change them? So I just kind of started not talking to people anymore. And it's not that I don't like them and I don't like wish ill will on anybody. Like what's that saying? I still want you to eat, just not at my table. I don't really do anything in my life that doesn't meet my goals, I guess. Oh, yeah. Tell the boys I said hi. Um, it's my favorite, Addie. And honestly, sometimes you literally, I mean, we do it all the time. Like, sometimes all you want the person to do is be like, shut up. What a bitch. Like, that's all. That's all I need is just somebody to to vent to. Um, you know, especially now with freaking social media, man. Everybody's like sitting here with these like amazing lives and they're like, I love my kids so much and they're perfect. Listen, I love my kids too, but they're not perfect. And sometimes they drive me crazy. And that is 1,000% okay. And sometimes I hate my hair. And sometimes whatever. There's a million things that you're allowed to be negative about and still like love your life and still be happy. Um, I think people have this like weird thing where like if you complain about something that means you hate it. No, like my kids are just bad today. That's okay. It doesn't mean I hate them. I still love them very much. Um, I think it's so important to just vent and to just point out negative things. Like pointing out negative things does not mean that you are negative. You just have to figure out how to deal with it afterwards, right? Yeah. There's so much, Kathy, and that's what I hate is that people feel like they're the only ones. Why does everybody else have this great life? Why is everybody else so perfect? Why is no, nobody else is perfect. Everybody has shit going on. Um, Especially nowadays, things are so hard for people and you have no idea what they're going through. But I promise you, they're going through something. Yes, I agree, Peggy. I agree. At least halfway, man. You don't have to be all sunshine and rainbows, but for the love of God, stop just being so negative all the time. Sam! Yeah, that's literally, Scott, that is why I wanted to do this because I feel like 90% of my problem when I'm going through a funk is that I feel like I'm the only person that has negative emotions and negative feelings. And I started years ago, I think it was a laundry post, because people were like posting all these things about posting pictures of their houses, and people's houses always look perfect in pictures, right? So I posted a picture of my laundry, and it was like 10 loads of laundry that needed to be put away. And I was like, I'm gonna make a real post for you guys. People always want to post pictures of their houses and everything looks like a freaking magazine. I was like, here's my laundry. It's like 10 loads of laundry. It's clean, but I haven't put it away. It's just sitting there in laundry baskets. And we live out of laundry baskets now because I have not put it away. And I was like, I asked people in the comments, I was like, what do you got going on at your house? And people loved that post. Like everybody was like, here's my dishes that I haven't washed in 3 days. And here's this broken window that I haven't fixed in 6 months. People loved it. And they told me like, I I feel like everybody else is just perfect and I'm the only one sitting here with chores that need to be done, whatever. Oh, I promise you're not. Um, it's just people have been trained to think that like if you're not perfect, then you're not worthy or some bullshit. I don't know. Hang on. Sorry. So people feel like they need to be perfect all the time. And just posting that was like enough for people. Like literally, people were messaging me, like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I feel so much better. And so I wanted to literally just do a podcast where people can be like, hey, guess what? I'm not perfect either. Because it's super important. People should know that. Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony is a perfect asshole in like the greatest ways. Like if anybody ever messes with me, I know Tony would be an asshole to them. Yes. Yes. Um, I feel like the people who try the hardest to put up a front of being perfect um, are the ones who are super insecure with themselves. Um, like I will tell you, my house is a mess. I will tell you, my kids are late to school 2 days a week because I oversleep and don't know how to wake up to an alarm. Um, I will tell you those things because at the end of the day, I know that I'm a good person. I'm not worried about what you think of me. Sorry. I love you all. I'm not worried about what you think of me. And it's the people who are worried about what other people think that are constantly trying to like, look at me, I'm perfect. Dude, you don't have to do that. Um, just be a good person. It's okay to have dirty laundry. It's okay to have dirty dishes. It's okay to forget important things in your kids' lives. It's everything. It's fine. You don't have to be perfect. And also there's that. Perfection is so boring. Like spice it up a little bit. I know you would, Tony. Yes. Oh my gosh. Ashley, we're so on the same page. Um, if you've never seen that, if there's like pottery or something that breaks, they don't just throw it away. What they do is they take actual gold and they melt it down as like a glue. And it's almost like every time the pottery breaks, it gets a little bit more beautiful. And when it started out and it was perfect, it wasn't as great. Imperfections are totally fine. Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, there's no such thing as a normal life. There's no such thing as a normal life, honestly. I know you are, but what am I? Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. I'm a little worried about that storm, but yeah. Don't get me started on the Christmas tree. I know it's not very Hallmark movie of me, but I hate setting up the Christmas tree. I like when it's done, like it's pretty, whatever, but whew, not a fan. Yeah. I That's what I don't get. Like, what's not okay about admitting that you have stuff going on? Like, where did we go on this terrible path of thinking that we can't have anything wrong? And it's not even wrong, it's normal. It's normal stuff. Kathy, that is 100% okay. Exactly. How boring would it be if we were all like perfect and it's just crazy talk. Yeah, that's another thing. Thanks, Debbie. You're fantastic. That's right. That's all it should be. There's no such thing. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's hard. I do like to be I do like to have not breaks from my husband. We don't break up. Um, but I do like, he'll go to the cabin and spend time with the guys and I'll go on my crazy ghost hunts. But I do like having like time away because it gives you like a chance to miss each other. But yeah, after like 4 days, I'm like, he needs to come home. I can't imagine 3 weeks. Gosh. I mean, a total of 3 weeks. Yes. That's great. I'm glad that you talked to your staff about that. That's super important. Most companies tend to focus on the company and not the employee, which seems a little crazy to me because, happy employees work harder, but that's a whole nother show. um, and also I think that people have a very weird concept of what self-care is. Like if you watch like shows or something or commercials or whatever, like you would think like self-care is like, oh, you have to go get a massage and you have to, whatever, drink wine. Listen, my self-care is I do a tour de thrift. I call it. My dad and I call it. And I will take a day and I will just go to all the thrift stores in all the different towns in Lake County. And that's what I do. I spend $8 the whole day and I just go and look at other people's junk. That's it. It doesn't have to be like ridiculous self-care. You don't have to spend $150 and go get a massage and do all this other stuff. Like, do whatever your thing is. If you want to cut out magazine pictures and make a collage, do it. Whatever. It doesn't have to be super expensive. And everybody's self-care absolutely should be different because we're all totally different people, right? So we all have totally different things that make us happy. Some people have never walked into a thrift store because that's not their thing. They don't care about that. I do. So that's my self-care. Ugh. Yep. 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 100%. Yep. Oh, I love you, Laura. Tell the girls I said hi. And my best friend. Yes. Seriously, thrifting is my therapy. Yep. Who cares? Like I hate that there's like a idea of self-care. Dude, everybody's self-care is different. Sometimes it's just turning off your phone and just sitting there staring at the wall in the silence. Sometimes that's all I need. Um, some people's self-care is going on a trip, going on a drive, whatever, talking to a certain person. Some people do go get massages for self-care. I'm not knocking that if that's your thing that makes you happy, but it shouldn't be like perceived that everybody's self-care is the same. We're all different. We all have like weird things that we like to do. And FYI, weird is a term of endearment in my house. So don't ever think that I'm like saying anything negative. Um, we pride ourselves on being weird because to us, it's like you're different. You know, you're standing out, you're being yourself, you're weird, whatever. That's such a good thing for us. Yeah, exactly. But it's not a mani-pedi, John, because that's what the TV told me self-care is. Um, yeah, that's a really hard one for me because I do love there's just something about sitting by water. Um, it just calms me. I could just sit there. Yep. Sometimes it's just blasting Eminem while you're driving. Just whatever. Seriously. Hopefully, what do you guys have for self-care? What do you do? Because I know I'm not the only one who does something other than massages and mani-pedis. I it does suck for 4 months out of the year, but you know what? I just got back from Florida in November. I can't do it, man. I can't do the hot all year round. I'm not made for that. Yeah, see? And that's free. Dude, sometimes just go stand in the shower till the hot water runs out. That's it. Mm. Okay. This one's tough. First of all, because everybody deserves self-care. Um, Sometimes people feel like they're being selfish by doing something for themselves. Me, I was one of those people for a long time. And it actually took a fight with my husband because I was projecting my shit onto him. And, you know, he would go to the cabin all the time. And I would be like, "Well, you get to do this all the time." And he's like, "Then go do something." And I was like, "But I can't." And he's like, "Why can't you?" I literally had no reason. I had no reason. Especially if you're doing something that's free. If you self-care, Tina, come over. We'll have some coffee and sit on my couch. That's free. Um, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? I realized that I was constantly focusing on everyone else. And I thought that it was the right thing to do, right? If you're a mother and a wife and a friend, you should be focused on what other people want and what is good for other people. But I realized that I was just a miserable human being. I was miserable, constantly focusing on everyone else but myself. And I started to do things that I liked to do. And it was such a weird concept for me. And I would come home and I'd be like, is it okay if I do this? Are you going to be mad at me if I go do this or whatever? And of course, Richie's amazing. He would always be like, "No, I don't care. Go do that." Like, he doesn't believe in ghosts. He doesn't think, whatever. But he'd be like, "If that's what you want to do, then go do it." And so I started to do things and I realized that I was becoming happier. And when I was happier, my entire house was happier. Everybody around me noticed that it was different. I treated people differently because I was just happy and I was content. And so that spilled over into my relationships with everyone else. So if you're worried about doing it because it's selfish, then actually think about it that way because when you are happy and when you are at your best and whatever it takes for you to get that way, you are actually a better person to everyone else. So you're doing it for them. Okay, I got this one too. Listen, I've been here. I've been here. Um, I was constantly stressing about doing all the things. I have to be a good wife. I have to be a good housekeeper. I have to be a good employee. I have to be a good mom. I have to be a good whatever. And, people would go, "Oh, how do you do it?" That's one of my topics I want to talk about. Thank you for bringing this up. People, because I have a lot of other shit going on. I volunteer at the seminary. I'm the president of Project 528, which is a nonprofit that helps small businesses. Anyways, I do a lot of things. And people would always ask me, like, how do you do it all? How do you do it all? Here's the thing. Don't. I don't. I don't do all the things all the time. I pick a thing and I do that thing. um, I might have days where I am a really good employee and I will sit there and I will do marketing and I will try to reach out to people and I will try to work on my Facebook page and whatever. And I will be a really good employee that day. But you know what happens? I let the kids play on their Xbox a little bit longer than normal. Some days I'm a really good mom and we will go outside and build a snowman and we will go do this and we will make hot chocolate and we will whatever. But you know what happens in that time? Then my work and my extracurricular things that I do, those get pushed to the side for a second. And that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes I will sit here and I will turn on music and I will clean my entire house and I will rearrange furniture and I will do all this crazy stuff at home. But then I'm not doing other things, and that's fine. I realize that you cannot be every single thing every single day. And so I basically pick a thing. If my house is getting super messy, then that day I'm going to be a super good housekeeper. And if, my kids had a bad day at school, then I'm going to be a super good mom that day. And if things are crazy at work, then I'm going to be a really good employee that day. I just pick a thing and do it. I don't do all the things all the days because you can't. And if you think that you can, then you're going to go crazy and you're constantly going to feel like you are failing. So I would just pick one thing to give 100% to. Because if I'm picking 20 things, then I'm only giving 5% to each thing. I can't, then I'm a perfectionist. So when I can't be my best at that thing, then I get very upset with myself. So I stop trying to do all of the things and I pick a thing and I do that thing that day. And the next day, maybe cleaning will be the thing. Probably not, Richie, if you're watching. I don't pretend to be a great housekeeper. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show people's um, self-care things because it's important. Because maybe try something different. I know it sounds weird, but I I was 37 years old when I learned that, like, hey, I like going to haunted buildings. And, you know, um, my 18-year-old actually was talking about this the other day. He's like, I don't even know what I like doing. And I said, well, yeah, because you're only 18. Like, I know you think you're grown, but like, you don't even have a favorite burner on the stove yet. Like, there's so much out there. I told him to pick something. I said, write a list of 12 different things that you've always wanted to try. And it doesn't have to be like skydiving or anything crazy. Just maybe you want to try cooking, or you want to try decorating cupcakes, or you want to try whatever, going to a museum. Pick something and do one thing every month until you figure out things that you like doing. And then you'll know what kind of things are good for self-care for you. I love that, John. I saw your picture the other day of the red jacket and the hat. Freaking do it. Honestly, um, first of all, nobody has a right to judge what people like doing. But I think that's a really cool thing to do. But anyways, um, who cares if people think that it's weird? Um, I also don't really care about expensive things, because if it makes you happy, then it's worth every penny. Obviously, if you're not paying your bills so that you can buy suits, then that's different. But um, it's definitely about the thinking. Um, if it makes you feel good, then that's great. Freaking do it. But you do look good. Debbie, seriously try it. I think it would help a lot. Just pick a thing. And Jay's not going to be mad at you. Just tell him what you're doing. Yeah, I agree, Kathy. And I think a lot of it is just trying to figure out like what questions to ask. Um, because, like Scott said it earlier, it's really hard to recognize your emotions and recognize what like, if you don't recognize that there's a problem, then you won't ask the question, like, what can I do to fix this? Or what can I do to make this better? Um, I did, since we have a break in the comments, I wanted to talk to you guys too about like just stressful holidays. Okay, I get it. Holidays are super stressful to some people. And this is one of the big things for people, like thinking that they're the only ones. I promise you are not the only one who dreads going to family functions. Um, Again, everybody posts pictures about how great it is, whatever. But there are a lot of people that struggle during the holidays, and the holidays are not fantastic for everybody. And that's something that's very hard for people to understand. And I think that people forget about a lot. Um, but I did want to touch on something that I learned when I went to go see a counselor one time. I mean, I didn't go just one time. I'm just saying this example was from one time. Um, so if you have a relationship, doesn't matter what kind of relationship, whether it's a parent, a child, a sibling, an aunt or uncle, your grandparents, whatever. If you have somebody, I'll just use my sister for this example because everybody knows I love my sister, and it's not about my sister. But she said, you need to have a funeral for your sister. And I was like, what are you talking about? My sister's still alive. And she said, I want you to take every single expectation of what you think a sister should be, and I want you to bury it like you're having a funeral. Physically take something that reminds you of her, put it in a shoebox, bury it in the ground. And once you bury that expectation of what that relationship is supposed to be, everything else gets easier. And I'll be damned, it worked. Um, I know that the holidays are hard for people, and I know that it's hard to see certain people in your family, but, and I know I'm well aware that it sounds crazy to do that, but it does help. We all have expectations. There we go with the supposed to be. Sisters are supposed to be, mothers are supposed to be, fathers are supposed to be, whatever. Um, it helped me a lot to just totally get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Get rid of every expectation I have for that person and how our relationship is supposed to be. And it died. Bury it. Have a funeral. Um, and just be done with it. And once you stop trying to compare your actual relationship with the relationship that you have in your head based off of movies and other people's perfect lives and whatever, once you get rid of that, then you're not as disappointed because you, I know, just lower your expectations, right? Um, but it does help tremendously. And I just wanted to share that because I think that it's important as we go into the season where people are stuck being close to toxic family members. Um, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I know that it's hard to be around those people. Um, and I know that it's hard, but try to focus on the good if you can. Um, I hope, Kathy, that you mean figuratively. I'm just kidding. I know you do. There you go, John. Have a good night. Let me know if you need anything. What else? Because I wanted to try to get, I knew I was going to just talk too much and not talk about the things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, I reached out, what was it, last week or whatever, and I asked people what they wanted me to talk about. And something that came up very frequently was postpartum depression. Because it's such a taboo topic for whatever stupid reason. It's definitely, I feel like it's at the top of things where, people are afraid to talk about it. I've had people come up to me and or message me and whatever and say, like, I've been having those feelings, but I never wanted to say anything because I feel like it makes me a bad mom. Okay. I definitely I fell victim to postpartum depression, and it will sneak up on you. You have no idea. But it's one of those things where people are afraid to talk about it because if I say that I'm sad, then clearly that means I hate my kid and I hate being a mom. No, that's not it. That's not it. Not at all. But I just wanted to share some things that helped me when I was going through that. First of all, let somebody come over. You always have, it's usually older people who will offer, do you want me to come over? I could just watch the baby while you take a shower. Do take them up on that. Take them up on that. Be like, sure. Can you come over at 2? Let them come over. Um, it, Having somebody watch your kid for 20 minutes while you take a shower does not make you a bad mom. It doesn't mean you can't handle your kid. It just means you want to take a shower. Let them come over. Take a shower, get dressed in real clothes, get out of your sweatpants or your pajamas or whatever you've been wearing for the last 4 days straight. Put on some jeans, put on a nice shirt, do your hair, do your makeup, go to the store. You cannot imagine how much that will change your entire day. Just feeling normal. Listen, sorry guys, when you have a baby, you're gross. You're like sweaty, you got spit up all over you. There's all kinds of things going on. Like just taking a shower, putting your clothes on, putting nice clothes on, going out to the store, feeling like a normal adult will do wonders for you. So if you need me to come over and watch your baby, let me know. Okay. I wanted to make sure that I got everything. Probably not. But it is already 9:10, guys. That was a really quick hour. Unless anybody has anything else that they want to talk about. See? Thank you, Kathy. It's a normal thing. It's science, people. It happens. And it does not mean that you hate your baby or you hate your life or you're a bad mom. It just means your body's doing what it was meant to do. Which I don't know why our bodies are meant to make us depressed, but whatever. That's a different topic. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys next week. If you have anything that you guys want to talk about next week, then just message me or just, I mean, you could always just tune in and put it in the chat if you feel comfortable. If not, then just message me and we'll talk about it. And I won't tell anybody where the idea came from. I think that it's important to figure out, you know, what topics you want to talk about. And I think that you'll see once you share them that, you know, people in the comments are going to be like, oh my God, me too. Like, if there's something that you think you're the only one, if there's something you think that you're alone in, please message me. We'll talk about it. And I promise you, you're not alone. Even if somebody's not feeling that particular way at that moment, I guarantee somebody's been through it. So don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out to a medical professional if you want to go that route too. I know I said sometimes it's all you need is just to vent, but obviously there's other times where you need a little bit more than that, and that's totally fine. I actually kind of like it because it's like a third party person that's not invested in your life. And so they're not going to automatically take sides. And it is really nice to go and talk to somebody, a professional sometimes. So, you know, look into that option if that's what you want to do too. But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. This is such a big deal to me. This is so important to me. And it's something that I've wanted to do for years because I think that it's such an important topic. And I hope that you guys can take even one thing that I've said and just kind of maybe think about it. You know, next time you're feeling a certain way, just be like, "What that crazy bitch do? Oh, that's right, she did this." Just try it. What's the worst that can happen, right? All right. Well, I will talk to you guys next week, and maybe we'll go on for a little bit longer next week, but it's already 9:13. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.